to play a game of this caliber. Our guys have worked really hard to get to this point, and we've had some tough football games that have gone our way, a few that haven't, but they've given us great effort all year, and they couldn't be more excited to play a great opponent in Florida State that's undefeated, ranked number 4 in the country, and they played a lot of really good football. So we know it's a talented football team. They're well coached. They got a lot of really good players at every position. And we're going to have to play well in order to win, but that's what drives us to hopefully come out prepared and play as well as we can and challenge ourselves to raise our level of play and match the level of play that we'll see from Florida State. But to play in this atmosphere in this championship game, I think it's great for our guys and our team, and we can't wait to get out here tomorrow night.
Questions, please raise your hand, let us know who you are, who you're with, and wait for the handheld mic. Who has the first question? Front row.
Jeff, how do you kind of compensate for the newness of Louisville being in this game as a program? I know some individual players have been on teams that made a conference championship, but how do you kind of, embrace that and get them comfortable?
Well, I think we try not to talk about it a whole lot. I think, we want to treat this like a normal week of practice, a normal preparation for a really good team that we have to come ready to play and a game that means something. So I think we just challenge our guys every week to improve and correct our mistakes and try to have our best week, have our best performance to date. And that's individually, as a unit, as a team. And that's what we'll try to do here. And I think it'll be a great measuring stick, because this is a really good football team. But I think our guys are up for the challenge and are looking forward to getting on the field and taking on such a great opponent.
Middle of the room.
Chris Brohm, Chris Idell from Hermiston Radio in Baltimore. Tomorrow's supposed to be a lot of rain in this area, so is your ground game built for the rain? What do you guys got to do that with the elements?
Well, I hate to say it, we've not been as good in the elements as I would like to be in my past. So I think we've worked all week with a wet ball and having to handle that and make sure that we try not to do too many silly things. Taking care of the football, running the ball, trying to get somewhat safe and easy completions is always important to make sure we call and have ready to go. I think sometimes the game plan will change slightly if it's a situation that needs it. And we had a rainy game in Pittsburgh. It wasn't a good day for us. We had turnovers and miscues, and our whole team didn't play as well as it should. So yes, taking care of the football will be vital. I don't think we could have worked any more than we had to this point, but we got to go out during the game and do that.
To our right, Coach.
Jeff, Florida State seems to maybe their quarterback situation may be in flux. How do you guys approach that?
Well, I think that Tate, their backup, has come in and done a really good job. He's played a lot of football. He's got a football pedigree and background. He played last year against Louisville and won. And he's done a really good job. And I'm sure behind that, they'll have capable guys that can come in and step in and play. But we're anticipating seeing Tate, and we prepared for him, and a little bit for the unknown, but you never know. I just think you have to be prepared for a couple different styles, whether it's a guy who likes to throw the ball out, or whether it's a guy that's going to run the zone read and power read and kind of get on the edges and make some plays with his feet. So we have to be prepared for both of them.
Back left.
Andrea Adelson, ESPN.com. Jeff, as a follow-up to that, if Brock Glenn does play, how much would that change or affect your game plan?
Well, I think anytime there's a new quarterback in, it does affect and change slightly, and we'll base it on what we think his strengths or weaknesses are. So other than making sure we're aware of that plan, I think we just got to go into it expecting Tate to play and then adjusting if he doesn't. So I think we've worked it this week and hopefully we're prepared for it.
Red aisle.
Yeah, Coach, Matt Truckinoni from Herb FM Sports Radio. So since this is the ACC Championship game, a big game and everything, how are you going to keep your guys grounded and focused on the task at hand?
Well, I think for us, we need to go out there and cut it loose. I think Florida State, of course, they want to win the game to get to the playoff, and for us, we're the underdog. We need to go out there, and pressure's on them, and we need to go out there and just cut it loose. So I think we've worked really hard this week. We understand that. With that said, we have to play our best football, and we have to improve on some mistakes we made last week and the losses we've had this year. Make sure that those things don't happen. but we got to make plays, and both sides of the ball got to be aggressive in their approach, find ways to make some difference-making plays, and then I think our special teams has to find a way to gain an edge, which we have not been as sharp in that recently as I would like, but we've worked at it hard. So I think tomorrow night will be the night to see how far we've come in our preparation.
Left aisle.
Hi, Coach Brohm, Jennifer Lewis, New Stitched Media. So this season's been really special for you guys. What have y'all learned about yourself as a coach, and what have you learned about your team?
I think our guys have done a great job of really just staying grounded, working hard, understanding that each week is a new challenge, and we kind of talk amongst ourselves about how it's a one-game season for us, and we're going to do everything in our power to win that game. And that includes myself, our coaches, and our players. And you lay it all in the week during the week of practice. You practice hard. You make sure you look in the mirror at night before you go to bed. And have I done everything I can to help prepare for this? And then you do it the next day. And then you do it the next day. And then when you take the field, hopefully you have the confidence to go out there and play your best and cut it loose. And that's what we're trying to do. And then I tell them after every game, whether you win or lose, you got to do it again. And sometimes after you win, the expectations are higher, so it makes it even harder. But when you lose, you got to still stay hungry, and you can't lose confidence in yourself. You got to say, you know what, I'm not going to make those mistakes again. Let's figure out a way to not have that happen. And I just think you just grind away each week at it, and as soon as you start looking at any other game as a player and coach other than the one ahead of you, you're going to do things that are a detriment to winning that game. So, of course, this game is easy because we know we got to put the work in, which I think we have to this point. We know that we're going to have to play really solid, fundamental, good football throughout the game. Win a lot of the small little battles you have to when you play really good teams in order to win, but that's why you roll the ball out there and kick it off, because you never know once you step on the field. So I think our guys are looking forward to playing a team of this caliber.
Thank you, sir.
Michael McCammon, Cardinal Authority. You spoke about this after the last game, spoke about it on teleconference, about getting some fixes for the defense. After it's been a week, are you pleased with the fixes that you guys have been able to put in place?
Well, we've had some really good games on defense. I think the last 3 weeks have not been our best. I think you have to just kind of circle the wagons and look at what's worked for you and what hasn't, and what mistakes you made and what were the calls, and how can we as coaches put them in a better position to succeed. So we've worked hard at it. There has to be a fine line. I think we had some success early on because we were aggressive in our approach. We were trying to get sacked. We put pressure on the quarterback, and then a few times we've gotten burnt because of it. So I think it just has to be that perfect combination of, hey, do you want to go down being extra aggressive, or do you want to go down being extra conservative? And I just think I wish I had a perfect answer for it. But right now, we're this far into the season. We've practiced a lot of things to make sure we have ammunition. I think we like the plan that we have to this point going into the game, but you got to be able to adjust. And I think depending on how the game goes, we have to stick with the plan or be able to adjust slightly if things go south early, so that we can kind of change the momentum. And I think that's what's important, is making sure that we have the answers when those problems come up.
Back right, camera.
Yeah, Jeff, I guess kind of as a follow-up, how have you balanced between practices being physical and intense, and then just kind of walking through some things, especially because of how the way the last game went?
I think we've had some really good practices. We go probably good on good as much as anybody throughout the season. Of course, as you get later in the season and some wear and tear happens, we do pull back on that slightly. So we have pulled back on that slightly. We do want to make sure for this championship game we get as many guys as healthy as we can to it, so that they can go out there and play. So I think that we've tried to balance that pretty well, and I think we're about as fresh as we can be coming into this game.
Left aisle.
I'm Rochelle Pell, WarChant.com. Florida State, like a lot of teams, Florida State rotates a lot of their defensive line. It seems like it's probably on the higher end of teams that do that. When you're preparing for a team like that, when it rotates that much, do you get down to the specifics of different guys' talents and skills and the ways they play, or is it just whoever's in front of you blocking?
Well, they've got a good system down, and they run it well, and they have the guys to do it. So I give them a lot of credit. They've got some really good athletes that can run, that have length, that are quick, that are powerful. they don't do a whole lot of different things. They're going to line up with 4 down linemen and linebackers and pressure on the outside, whether it's 1 high or 2 high, and come after you. And I think they do a really good job of it. They allow their players to challenge routes, get in front of receivers, don't give up any easy completions, make you earn it. So you have to have a good plan, and you've got to execute. And they're going to create havoc with their speed and their athleticism. So you have to try to find a way to negate that a little bit if you can. So yes, you whether it's protection or whether it's balance or whether it's running the ball at it or whether it's finding ways to get big plays, that's the dilemma. So they've done a really good job. They've held people to, I think, under 30 points in every game, and their defense has been really good. So we have our hands full.
Red aisle.
Hey, Jeff, David Hill with ESPN. You mentioned earlier having a game plan sometimes be a little more aggressive with your pass rush. When you're playing a team that's going to have one way or another a relatively inexperienced quarterback, does trying to get them off schedule and behind the chains become a bigger priority for you?
Well, it's a priority, and it always will be. Now, we've gotten burnt on it a little bit here in the recent past, so you got to just make sure that you're very calculated in how you approach that. But without question, every game, getting pressure on the quarterback, getting his jersey dirty, making him feel the push and the heat coming at them is very important. And at the same time, stopping the run and making sure they don't get big plays in the running game is very important. These guys can run the ball. They've got really good running backs. They've got good tight ends and big receivers. So that's the challenge is, you take away one, they're going to try to do the other. So, but without question, affecting the quarterback is very important.
Left aisle.
Darren Stoltzfus, West 2 from Orlando. Obviously, it's not easy to get here. I mean, this is year 4 for Mike, and they're just starting to peak. How were you able to put Louisville in this position in year 1? What was the process like to put your imprint on this program and get to this point?
Well, in my head, I don't think there's a secret formula to it. I've been fortunate enough to be able to play the game and coach the game and have some experience coming into coming back home to University of Louisville, so I feel good that I thought we were prepared to take on that challenge. I thought we had some hungry guys on the team already that were, wanted to be coached. They wanted to play at a high level. They wanted to try to win big games. We tried to mix that with a combination of other guys that could help our team improve depth-wise and talent-wise. And all we try to do is provide a great environment where these guys want to work. They want to put in the time. They understand that we're there to help them. So, myself and our coaches, we're going to spend extra time with our players. We're going to make sure that as much football as they want to do, that's what we're going to do. And I just think our guys have really spent a lot of time working to improve, to get better. When we play games, whether we win or lose, I think we identify the problems we make, starting with myself and the mistakes I made first, moving to our coaches, and we work it down to our team. And they go to work on it. They listen, we try to improve upon it, try not to have it happen again, and then we just go cut it loose. But these guys have had fun working. I think they enjoy playing football at the University of Louisville. They enjoy the competition and some of the success we've had to this point. So that's why I think they're going to cherish this opportunity in this game because, we know we're playing a really talented team that hasn't been defeated, and they've won some big games, but, it's going to be a great measuring stick for us.
Front row.
Alexis, give a little courage. I know, just kind of going off of that. I guess when you were, picking guys from the portal or, just kind of evaluating the talent that was brought back, what gave you the confidence, or what did you see from these guys that allowed you to feel like you guys could get to this point this season?
Well, I think I've learned a lot as a coach. My father was, coached me growing up in certain sports, still coaches a little bit. We used to tease him. He was always great because his teams would win the league, whether it was Optimus baseball or Optimus basketball, because when he had his draft, he would draft the best players no matter what anybody said about them, their attitude, their work ethic, and he'd piece it together. So for us, I've always taken that, and when we go try to improve our team, we're going to try to get the best players we can. And without question, we want to know their character and their makeup and their work ethic, but sometimes what you hear about somebody isn't always true. You got to get to know them, and there's a lot of good in everybody, and a lot of people want a second chance, or they want another opportunity to prove themselves. So we just try to bring out the best of everybody we bring in. We create an equitable, fair environment where they're all going to get a chance to go on the field. You proved to us you can play, we're going to put you on the field, whether you're a starter, backup, or third team. And these guys have gelled together really well. I mean, they get along, they work hard. We've been very unselfish, in my opinion, because We have run the ball to a certain degree. Some receivers haven't probably seen the ball as much as they would like and can easily get upset, but they don't. They work really hard and they understand as long as we're winning, that's the goal. So I just think you try to do whatever's best for the team, but be as honest with them as you can along the way. And if you do that, they'll respond and they'll play hard and they'll play well.
Sure, right?
Kendrick Haskins, Wade, Louisville. Jeff, you played in the Big Ten Championship game just last year. Is there anything you can take from preparation from that game into this game? Is there anything you would change in your preparation between the two?
Well, I would have probably just left at halftime last week. We were right there with them, man. Felt really good. And then the second half didn't go the way we wanted. You know what? When you play in those games, you just kind of have to prepare, have an aggressive approach, build confidence that your guys can go out there and play and win, and then go cut it loose. And I just think that last year, if I look back on it, man, we were right in it. And then we gave up a couple of big plays and turned the ball over. And, then it kind of went the other direction. So I just think you got to, man, how can we, eliminate those small mistakes and concentrate on those small details. Try not to give them, the other team, something easy, make them earn everything they get. And I think if you do that, you have a chance to win. So I just think that, being the more disciplined team, concentrating on those small things, taking care of the football, but yet being aggressive in our approach is the style we have to play. And I just think our guys got to be locked in, they got to be focused, they got to be dialed in, that we don't make critical mistakes, and if we have one or two that happen to go the other direction, we've got to rebound quickly. And that's what we've tried to preach, and hopefully we can carry it out.
Front row.
C.L. Brown, Louisville Courier-Journal. Jeff, there have been different times during the season for individual players who had good games. You're like, well, their bar just got higher. This is what we have to expect. Getting U of L to this game, regardless of what happens tomorrow in year one, where do you feel like the bar is being set now for you and the program?
Well, it's being set higher without question. So, the fever blisters I get on my mouth and the gout I get in my foot or elbow because of the season, for the stress, it's going to continue to be there. But you know what? That's why you play the game, is you want to try to find a way to win at a high level. It's got to mean something to you, and I knew coming back it's going to mean something to me, and it better, because if not, there's going to be a lot of people telling me about it. So I knew that I was going to have to put the work in. It's going to be committed to, once the season starts and we get in preparation, we've got to do everything we can to win. Our coaches, we're going to have to do the same thing. We're going to have guys that really wanted to be committed to finding a way to win no matter what was going on. So I think we got a good nucleus of that going on right now. There's a lot of people on our staff that have ties to the university, whether they've lived there, played there, coached there, went to school there, so it means something to them as well. And then you carry that down to your players. You want guys that, hey, if you want to win, we're going to have to put the work in. It doesn't just happen. There's no easy way to do it. There's no shortcut. And you explain that to them. And I just think since, I got there last December, you put the work in. You have times to put extra work in. You'd be surprised how many guys spend that extra time working to get it done. And you have to do that. I mean, you can't put a normal day in, and if you want to win at a high level, you've got to put in extra work. And if myself, our staff, our players are all doing it, then that's 120 to 150 people that are doing extra work, and that adds up. And that's what it takes to win. And I just think every year you learn from mistakes you've made. Why did we win this game? What made us not play as well? It's got to be written down. It's got to be studied. It's got to be filed away. You got to try to improve upon it that year. But the next year in the off season, you got to make sure that we find ways not to do it again. So, once this season is fully over, then we're going to have to go to work on next year and build our team, work on how can we get better, how can we improve, and I'm not a big guy that says we're going to do the same things we did last year. No, it changes. This game evolves every year. You have to be able to change. You have to be able to adapt. You've got to study other great teams across the country and college and the NFL, and why are they playing so well, or how are they winning so many games with less than maybe the other team, and you've got to piece that together. So I just think it requires a lot of work. You got to be willing to put it in, and then you still got to go out and play and execute. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and there's not a perfect science to it, but I just think you have to put the work in to have a chance, and then you hope that you go out there and play well.
If I could just follow that, the fever blisters and the gout and stuff? Like, did that happen at Purdue and Western Kentucky?
It's happened, you know what, it didn't happen as much when I was a player, but it's happened more since I was a coach. You know, it's like everybody gets stressed, you know, and you take a pill to hope that you don't get the fever blisters. Had to get some medicine to get over some of the other stuff I had, but it, you know, it didn't take long. I just thought it was old age. But you know, some of the things, you look at the symptoms and I'm like, well, I don't do that. But the ones that says stress, so I guess maybe it is stress. I don't know. But you know what? That's you know, that's part of it. I'm not complaining one bit. That's what you sign up for, and I just think it. You know, you have to take the game serious. I have to. Like, if we don't win, it has to bother me. Like, and it does. And it has to really eat at me. And you know what? I like for it to bother and eat at our coaches too. And then, you know, I like for it to bother the players a little bit as well. Now, comes a point where you got to get over it in a couple of days and build their confidence back up as a coach and a player. But you have to go through that hurtful process when you're not winning, and it has to drive you to want to do more. So I don't know. Just to me, that's how I've always been as a player and a coach, and I can at least sleep better at night if I know that we've tried really hard in order to win.
Left aisle.
Irish Sheffield again. Every conference around the country, there's perceptions of different conferences and what they're like. And now that you've been in the league, I know you haven't played everybody, but any thoughts on your perceptions after a season in the ACC?
Yeah, I think this is a great football conference. I think there's more parity in this conference than any conference that I've been around, from top to bottom. I think Florida State is as good as any team in the country right now, and they've proven it with big wins and really good play with a lot of different guys. You know, we've had tough games pretty much every week to a certain degree, and a lot of teams have beaten each other. So to me, it shows that there's great parity. There's good skill players in this league, good speed, good athleticism, and a lot of fun places to play. So I've enjoyed it to this point, but it's very competitive. And you know, if you don't play your best, you're not going to win on any given week. But without question, there's a lot of really talented teams. Excuse me. Florida State, Clemson, NC State, North Carolina, and then all the others are really good opponents. So you know, I think it'll stay that way, and it's been a lot of fun to play in.
Other questions, Tim? Back right.
Good thing.
Hey Jeff, Tyler Greer from WDRB in Louisville. I'm going to get down so the cameras move. You mentioned the loss bothering you. I would imagine you couldn't come up with a loss that would bother you more than the Kentucky one or these guys. Do you think that gave them any extra fire or spark for this week, not that they needed for a championship game?
Well, I think we're all disappointed, and it hurt all of us, which it should, because man, we had our chances. It wasn't like you know, it was a really bad game. We just made some costly mistakes. So you just think, man, if I would have done better on these things, it would have been a different day. So I just think you identify those, you try to improve on them. We know going into this game, you know, we've got to play really well. We've got to come out ready to play, and we've got to match their intensity and their desire to win and win early. We got to, you know, do all those small things correctly and keep the game close as long as we can. But you know, that's what we want to try to do. We want to try to have our best performance. And if you don't challenge yourself to have your best performance every week, then you're wasting time. So you know, individually, we need to try to do our best, and as a unit, as a team, we need to, and we need to take advantage of this opportunity in a great setting in a championship game and improve our work.
Take two more, right?
Yeah, Coach Matt Truckinelli from Herb FM Sports Radio. Yeah, so what is the importance of teamwork and having an unselfish team?
Well, it's vital, teamwork and unselfish play, and I think your best teams will have that. And you know, when guys know that they got to do their part, but yet, you know, if someone else is going to shine that day, that it's still great. I think your team will play its best. And I think, you know, Florida State has exemplified that. They've had multiple people come in and step in and make plays for them. We've done that to a certain degree. So I just think that, you know, in any team sport, you have to have a lot of really talented players that are willing to work together and really don't care who gets the credit. And that's normally your best team. So I just think the leadership skills from our players have been really good to this point, and they don't care who gets the credit. They just want to win. So we got to go out there and figure out a way to win.
Who wants the last question? Okay.
Okay, thanks, guys, appreciate it.